Hello and thanks for visiting TigliFabrications.com. I'm Nick and today I want to discuss with you our current diesel heater brackets, some facts about diesel heaters as it relates to Tacoma owners, the installation of the heater, and also installation of a splash shield. These right here are the two brackets that we currently offer. This is the Type 2 and this is the Type 1. These brackets are identical with the exception of this opening right here. This is for Toyota Tacoma owners that their vehicle comes with the OEM 110 volt outlet in the back, and by using this bracket you can retain that. So aside from that, they are identical. They are specific to second and third generation Tacomas, and specifically to the passenger side of the truck bed. There is a third bracket currently in production, and that will be for the driver's side, and it'll be the Type 1 bracket only, so no 110 area there. So that's it for the brackets. Let's talk about diesel heaters. All right, so here's two examples of diesel heaters. This is the S-Bar S2D2. I've had a lot of people asking me about what diesel heater I would recommend purchasing. There's no specific brand. The things I would tell you is look for one that has a controller that's prevalent amongst a lot of the different diesel heaters. One that hopefully there's some content out there on how to use functions, how to troubleshoot, and how to potentially customize if that's something that you would like to be able to do. The other thing I would suggest is going with a lower output heater. That way you can run it on a higher setting, which results in less soot buildup within the heater itself, and hopefully better performance. What I have in front of me here is the German S-Bar S2D2. This one is a 2.2 kilowatt heater. You can see it's a much smaller unit than this 5 to 8 kilowatt H-calorie diesel heater. The bracket is designed around this particular heater, so it'll accommodate the largest of what's available, which makes this one really easy to install. All right, we'll talk about some tools for our installation today. I'm going to use a light hammer there, a punch. This is a 5/16 deep socket, a 10 millimeter deep socket, screwdriver. We're actually going to use this for the nut driver fitting on there, and a T30 Torx bit. This is going to be for the factory bolts in the Tacoma, and also a very small 12 volt drill. All right, that's it for tools today. Oh, with the exception of a drill bit, and we are going to use a 3/32 drill bit today, and this is for the installation of our heater bezel and diffuser. I'm going to be using my bracket. It's got holes in it and all sorts of stuff. Evidence that it's been installed a couple of times throughout this process. To get started, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to grab our heater here. I'm just going to put one of the included nuts on here to hold it in place, because the first thing I want to do is I want to get a measurement on our ducting here. To do that, I'm just going to slip it on there and give it a little extra material here. I'm just going to hold my finger right where I think it needs to be cut. And I'm going to err on the side of cutting it just a little bit long. So right there is where I want to cut this. I found a hacksaw to work really well. You can use scissors. Either way, it works really well. So I'm going to cut that and I'll be right back. Okay, so we've cut our hose there. The next thing we're going to do, pop this heater off. And we're going to install our diffuser. Because I'm using the 2.2 kilowatt S-bar heater, it has a little bit smaller diameter hose. This is 60 millimeters, and the larger Chinese diesel heater has an 80 millimeter hose. And so with the Chinese diesel heater, it's as simple as putting that in there and then putting your self-tapping screws in that it comes with. With the screws that I'm sending out with the bracket, you would have to pre-drill the hole, and that's what this small drill bit's for. We will be doing that today, but for the smaller bezel here. So I'm gonna set that aside. To use this, you'll have to use the included spacer that we're also sending out. So fit that into the hole there, and then we're going to flip this over. Okay, so we've got that installed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little mark on here. Okay, I'm going to pop this out. And this is where our punch comes in. I like to drill these holes with this installed. I find it to be easier. Okay, I'm just making sure that's nice and flush all the way around. All right, I'm going to use this little driver here. That's all it takes. Not a lot of strength required to hold this in place. That's it. Okay. All right, so next up, we're actually going to show the installation of the bracket and the heater into the truck. Okay, so here we are in the back of the truck, and we are going to pull this factory accessory panel out. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to start with the 110 receptacle. Set our bolts aside, and this little guy, you're just simply going to pinch right here. Give it a little wiggle, and it unplugs just like that. Just like that, our 10 bolts are out. Pull the factory compartment out of the truck, and we're done with that. All right, so now we're ready to install our diesel heater. I've got my bracket here. I'm utilizing the Type 2 bracket, and I'm installing the small 2.2 kilowatt German diesel heater. The method's going to be the same for whichever heater it is you're running. It's just a little bit easier to get this one through the factory hole here. So the method that I'm going to use today is I'm going to hold the heater with one hand, pass it through, and then have the bracket follow. I'm going to leave it sitting on that little perch there. Makes it a little bit easier. And then I'm going to pass a couple bolts through just to keep the bracket stable while I'm under the truck. Second method, it's going to look a little different. We're going to do that from underneath. So with one hand, you're going to hold your heater up nice and high, pull your bracket through, and then from there, you're going to install your heater on your bracket, just like that. Now that we've got that installed, I'm going to be installing the 4 nuts that come included with your heater. All right, so now we're ready to install our vent hose. So I'm going to put a little pre-bend in it, as you can see here. Okay, I'm going to fit my clamps on there, just kind of in the middle. And then I'm going to put this onto the bezel that's connected to the bracket that we installed earlier. I'm going to put that there first, and then we'll put it onto the heater body. I'm going to take this, run it up to the opening. I will secure this wire later, just so that it's not bouncing around. All right, so now we're ready to complete our installation up top. I'll take this, plug it in. Okay, next we just need to grab our diffuser and we're done up top. We've got our 110 outlet installed, our bracket completely installed. The heater is securely attached to the bracket. We've got our bezel and diffuser installed. So for the most part, everything relating to the bracket is complete. All right, so one of the concerns that I had when installing my diesel heater back here, and a lot of other people have shared that concern, is water splashing up from the wheel well and damaging their heater. So I just want to point out, this is the splash shield that I created to just make up for this little gap right up here. You can see there's still a little bit of a gap there. This is just a really thin piece of plastic. And you can see this is just a little rivet holding it in place. So very little evidence of water hitting back here. I'm actually really amazed. It makes me think that maybe it wasn't even necessary. Now we'll get a view from the other side. So I've driven through a lot of water as of late. We've had a lot of big rainstorms and very little evidence of water actually even hitting the shield. Again, makes me kind of question the necessity of it, but helped me feel a little bit better when I was driving. So I think it was a worthwhile modification to make just for peace of mind. Thanks for following along. This concludes our video today. I just want to show how to install the diesel heater utilizing the bracket and just how easy that can be. A couple different methods there for you. If you're fortunate enough to have a second person available, it makes it a little bit easier for sure, but very doable for one person. In the future, I hope to put out a couple other videos specifically to the S-bar heater installation. There is some electrical work that needs to be done with that. So a little bit more complex, but very doable, I think, for most people. Hopefully with videos like this and some of the other content out there, it can be doable for anyone that wants to have a heater in the back of their truck. So again, thanks again for following along. I hope this helps. See you soon.